It's very important for the president to be here to pray to the Almighty.
President Buhari prays for peace in Nigeria as he performs Lesser Hajj in Mecca.
There's a large number of female innovators doing incredible work across Africa.
Vice President of Shibaju makes a case for innovations for public good.
We have to draft them to do civilian duties.
And federal government reaffirms commitments to armed forces reforms. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober in Abuja. Hingino John Adams joins us from Lagos, and Ogochukwuka Ona is in Benin. Another round of prayers for divine intervention in the affairs of Nigeria has been held in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where President Muhammadu Buhari performed the Lesser Hajj at the Grand Kaaba in the holy city of Mecca. This is the third time the president would perform this ritual of remarkable significance since coming to power. State House correspondent Adam Musambu reports.
The Lesser Hajj, otherwise called Umrah like Hajj, is amongst the best deeds Muslims can perform when pleasing Allah. It is indeed an act of great significance for the sake of the Creator. Therefore, apart from the bountiful rewards that can be derived, as well as forgiveness of committed sins, all prayer requests made here are considered granted. For President Muhammadu Buhari, who is in Saudi Arabia for this year's Future Investment Summit, this is another opportunity that cannot be misused. In line with the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the president, alongside members of his delegation to the summit, amongst them movers and shakers of the economy, performed tawaf, the circumambulation of the Grand Kaaba, as well as sa'i, going between Safa and Marwa. They walked and indeed run where necessary in compliance with the Islamic injunctions. And intermittently, prayers were offered for both personal and greater interests of the Nigerian nation.
It is very important for the president to be here to pray to the Almighty to intervene in the challenges being confronted by our country. As the leader, the responsibility is on his shoulder. He has been doing his best, and he needs the Almighty Allah to intervene and make his effort very successful. Whenever you happen to be a leader and there are challenges confronting your nation, if you humble yourself and pray to the Almighty, he will respond positively. So that is why I think at the moment, his prayer could be the most important for our nation. And we are very optimistic that Almighty Allah will answer his prayers.
From the start, the president has a clear idea. He had clearly defined what the problems of the country are. He identified the issue of security and the economy, which needed to be restructured, and the need to fight corruption. And coming up to this point, the president has done enormously well dealing with the security, especially of late. Successes are being recorded every day. The economy today has been diversified. So it's no longer a matter of speculation or anticipation. So given all of that is happening, I mean, the president and all of us Nigerian people, we are believing people, whether we are Christian, Muslim, or traditionalists. We believe that there is also a spiritual input to the achievements that we seek. So yes, this is why the president steeped himself in intense prayer, so that the intervention of the Almighty would also come in order that we are successful in completing and accomplishing those targets that he has set for the nation.
President Muhammadu Buhari was earlier accorded a befitting welcome on arrival at King Abdulaziz International Airport, Jeddah, by a high-powered Saudi Arabian government delegation led by the governor of Makkah, Prince Bandar bin Sultan bin Abdulaziz. From Makkah, Saudi Arabia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Well, the president is apparently not done touring the path of divine intercession, as he has tasked the Nigerians to continue to uphold the country in prayers for divine solutions regardless of ethnic and religious beliefs. This is contained in his message to the 11th National Breakfast Prayers for Christian Legislators of the National Assembly. Mobolaji Moribiri tells us more.
An atmosphere filled with soul-lifting songs capture the minds of worshippers in the hall. It is the time of the year when Christian legislators and other Christians from all denominations in different parts of the country gather to pray for the nation.
Faith is rooted in prayer. Without prayer, you will be tempted to lose your faith.
Thereafter, legislators took their turns to pray for the nation.
We pray today, Heavenly Father, give us the courage, give us the integrity to stand boldly at this time.
Goodwill messages from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Vice President were delivered by their representatives.
We shall continue to join hands together to pray for the sustenance and growth of our dear nation, Nigeria.
I speak these words also to our nation. Thus says the Lord, I have healed this water. From heat there shall be no more death nor barrenness.
The National Prayer Breakfast by Christian Legislators Fellowship of the National Assembly is set aside annually to intercede for the nation. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has called on African leaders to seek and allot appropriate funding to support innovative programs that are transparent and hold capacity for the public good. He made the call at a gala night he hosted for African innovators on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of their association. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
From 320 innovative hubs across 51 nations, they have gathered here in Abuja, representing thousands of others in Africa. The Vice President describes them as some of the most brilliant minds on the continent, soon to become owners of billion-dollar enterprises, groundbreaking technologies, medicine, education, and agriculture.
Is particularly exciting. There's a large number of female innovators doing incredible work across Africa. Very evident, even to the undiscerning, that Africa is set to leapfrog into the front lines of the fourth industrial revolution.
Highlighting the efforts of the Nigerian government and that of the rest of African nations, the Vice President says the ecosystem must work with governments, emphasizing that tech and innovation cannot be for profit only, but for the good of all.
But ladies and gentlemen, I believe that you must see your roles as more than starting and growing successful businesses or social enterprises. We must also see and understand our place in history, our obligation to our countries and to the continent. A bright and prosperous future for Africa beckons on us. You're all the great titans that will take us there. And we are extremely proud of you and all of the work that you're doing.
Some of the apps received awards for their outstanding performance.
We come together as one community, as one force, as one strength, with one goal in mind: to support the development of the continent.
And this is testament to all the progress that we've seen so far within the sector, and also the various efforts that the government is making in working and engaging with the ecosystem.
The gala night was organized by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment in conjunction with the Office of the Vice President. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has also called on Nigerian professionals in the diaspora to strive to bring home their wealth of experience in order to improve capacity and build Nigeria. She made the plea when she received members of the Nigerian Association of Pharmacists and Pharmaceutical Scientists in the United States of America. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
These are the members of the Nigerian Association of Pharmacists and Pharmaceutical Scientists in the United States of America, headed by their president, Dr. Teresa Pounds, whose ambition in this regard is to support the First Lady towards building better future of the Nigerian women, youth and children. While acknowledging their effort towards keeping Nigerian flag flying in the United States, the First Lady emphasized the need of coming together towards improving the health and the education of women, youth and children, as she is taking the lead through the Future Assured program, especially in the promotion of girl-child education, women empowerment, fighting drug and child abuse, as well as human trafficking and domestic violence. The First Lady urged them to key in positively towards achieving this.
Following the establishment of the Future Assured College in Maiduguri, Borno State recently, which aims at educating young girls affected by insurgency and poverty, this intervention provides a lead way of what we can do together to support these young brains attain a brighter future.
First of all, we want to acknowledge Your Excellency for what the Future Assured have done. All the great work you've done has not gone unrecognized. We want to see how NAPSA can foster and support Her Excellency to continue the highly impactful and needed advocacy program for the well-being of women, children, and adolescents in Nigeria, encasing education, health and economic empowerment of the Future Assured Foundation.
NAPSA is an association of Nigerian pharmacists and pharmaceutical scientists based in the United States of America, with membership cutting across the USA and Canada. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has called on the Nigerian media to desist from endorsing negative reports about the country by their foreign counterparts. The minister made the call during a media briefing over a publication by The Economist magazine where it carried a story the minister described as stereotypical on Nigeria. He noted that this is not the first time the magazine would carry a similar report. Anthony Folsom reports.
Economist group predicted that the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, will win the election. Well, the Economist was wrong.
Describing the Nigerian media as one that has earned a high reputation in the circle of professions, it stands out as one of the most vibrant in the world. The minister, while applauding the practitioners, admitted that the Nigerian press has indeed earned its prestige.
It is therefore not a surprise that the media was assigned a role by the 1999 Constitution. Section 22 of the 1999 Constitution has amended. Thus, the press, radio, television, and other agencies of the mass media to at all time be free to uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people.
Of serious concern is a trend by a section of the Nigerian media, especially the traditional platforms.
Regurgitating anything and everything published or reported by its foreign counterpart is totally antithetical to its reputation of independence and vibrancy.
Taking a swipe at The Economist magazine, the minister expressed the federal government's displeasure.
Will the British or American press re-echo a report in the Nigerian press denigrating their own militaries, as The Economist reported? In any case, why would the Nigerian media become an echo chamber for a foreign newspaper that denigrates the Nigerian military and makes light of the sacrifices of our valiant troops?
Lai Mohammed maintained that government is not rehashing the matter, but setting the records straight. In Abuja, Anthony Folsom, NTA News.
Time now for some messages. Stay with us.
Please, where's the dishcloth?
Are you ready for the world's biggest breakdance competition? Enter Globe Battle of the Year Nigeria and win mega millions in prize money. Globe Battle of the Year Nigeria is here. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, in collaboration with private sector partners, is organizing the first National Youth Conference covering youth from the 36 states of the Federation and FCT Abuja with the theme Youth Inclusiveness, Governance, Security, and Employment. The three-day conference is to be declared open by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, scheduled to take place as follows. Date, Monday, November 1st, 2021 to Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. Time, 8 a.m. daily. Venue, Velodrome, Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, with host Sunday Dari, Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Join us at the Confab as we celebrate our youth. You can also watch the National Youth Conference live through our official NYCON app from Google Play Store and Apple Store. Announcer Ismail Abubakar, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development.
Mommy is ready to receive me a bundle of joy. Mommy is making my home cleaner and safer. We are Dettol, Dettol.
Illnesses can happen at home too. That's why Dettol and me together will make my baby's home safe and to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs. That's why moms want to be Dettol. Dettol Sure.
We are Dettol, Dettol Sure.
Me and you, let's get to Ghana. Hey! Go and jump. No. This is Ghana. You've come here to seek for greener pastures. Make it your worthwhile. Any guinea fowl is Guinea. Guinea fowl has nothing to do with Guinea. It's just the name of the fowl. So Ghana jollof pot, is it Nigerian beans? What? Have we made before? No. Jasper! Help me!
It's a trip to St. James's Park for the Blues as they continue in their bid for the Premier League title. Will the Magpies call off another surprise this Saturday? It's Newcastle United versus Chelsea FC on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Thanks for staying with us. The Nigeria Police Force is deploying strategies for arresting and prosecuting criminals across the country. Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba stated this while briefing journalists at the weekly media briefing organized by the presidential media team at the State House. Aliu Kabir reports.
The Nigerian Police Force, according to the Inspector General of Police, Usman Ali Baba, has recorded remarkable progress in maintaining law and order in the country. Baba, who assumed office in April this year, identified areas of concentration by the Nigerian police based on the current security challenges in the country, making sure that police remain on top of the situation. For instance, he said, the police deployed all its strategies using the resources within its disposal to checkmate criminals and their activities such as banditry, attack on schools, abduction of students, kidnapping, proliferation of small and light weapons, as well as the vandalization of power cables and other public assets.
We are deploying both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches. One, in reinvigorating Operation Pop Adder. Two, to reinforce the ongoing fight against banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, and other violent crimes in the northwest and north-central part of the country. In addition, we also launched Operation Restore Peace in the southeast and south-south region on the 18th and 19th of May 2021, respectively, to ensure public safety, restore public order, and constitutional authority.
The IGP further explained that the Nigerian police has successfully arrested over 1,800 armed robbery suspects, 1,445 cultism-related cases, and over 1,100 suspects of cybercrime, among others recently. He said the Nigerian police is enhancing intelligence sharing with military, DSS, and other security agencies to ensure criminals are arrested and prosecuted in all parts of the country.
We are also improving our public relations and regaining the trust of the citizens through improved community engagements, enhancement of ethical policies, and the fight against corruption, e.g., police campaign against cultism and other vices which we are using, what we call the FOCACO.
While engaging in well-coordinated operations to confront bandits, kidnappers, armed secessionist groups by enhancing intelligence gathering efforts, the IGP is optimistic that the traditional rulers, religious leaders, media, civil society groups, and the general public are having a greater role to play in securing the country, as security is everybody's responsibility. From the State House, Anu Kabir, NTA News.
The federal government has expressed commitment to an efficient armed forces reform program and a review of the national security architecture to tackle emerging threats to security and lives in the country. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, stated this when he received members of the Implementation and Advisory Committee on the reforms of the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces, led by its chairman, Major General Alwali Kazir. Mitaire Ikwen reports.
The existence of several theaters of military operation in the country no doubt takes a toll on personnel and resources. Emerging global and national security threats also make it imperative to consistently build the capacity of the security forces. At this meeting, SGF Boss Mustafa urges the Committee on Implementation of Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces reforms to spare no effort, including bilateral and multilateral collaboration, to effect the needed reforms.
Right now, the armed forces are overstretched. We have had to draft them to do civilian duties or civil duties that is ordinarily assigned to the police. You might not be crafting a new defense policy, but you are looking at what is on ground. And I think that has become very obvious that as regular as possible, we revisit whatever architecture or infrastructure we've put in place to ensure that it meets contemporary challenges.
The 24-member committee was formed to close gaps that exist in the structure and operations of the armed forces and facilitate interface with the Ministry of Defense for effective service delivery.
The socio-cultural reality of Nigeria, which has given rise to proliferation of actors and the sources of conflicts, coupled with cross-border and transnational crimes, as well as insecurity in neighboring countries, have created challenges.
It is expected that the committee will arrive at far-reaching reforms that will reposition the nation's armed forces to defend the country from external and internal attacks. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
In the meantime, more than 1,000 repentant members of Boko Haram and their families have surrendered to the Nigerian troops in the northeast region. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the figure of repentant Boko Haram members has continued to rise in the last 2 weeks.
Day by day, Nigeria succeeds in the fight against terrorists that eat at Obi Devil, the northeast, and the Chad Basin territory. The defense media says the gains manifest almost on daily basis, with the fighters losing the battle.
The armed forces of Nigeria will not relent nor rest on their oars in the fight against all forms of criminality in the country. As always, the Military High Command commends the continued sacrifices of its troops in the various theaters of operation and continue to appreciate their courage and resilience towards achieving sustainable peace in the country.
Similar operations are yielding better results in the Niger Delta region, as more than 20 illegal oil refineries have been uncovered. Away from the onslaught, the National Defense College has organized a workshop for study on strategic approach to managing national economy and security. The engagement is expected to strengthen the role of the military in the commitment for national growth and development of the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Now to news from the legislature now. The Senate is canvassing improved funding for the Nigerian Television Authority if it must compete favorably as Nigeria's leading television outfit. This is part of observations by the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation during the 2022 budget defense by NTA management. Ignatius Unkwo reports.
2 days after the management of the Nigerian Television Authority received encomium at the House of Representatives budget defense, the Director General, Malam Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, and his team returned to the National Assembly. This time before the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation to justify NTA's 2022 budget proposal of 9.9 billion naira.
Your proposal 2020 personnel, 2020 was 6.1, 2021 7.2, and 2022 proposed 7.6. Can you explain it to us?
The increase in personnel costs may not always be tied to employment. There are salary increases. There are salary increases and promotions. When people are promoted, they earn more.
In the face of visible necessity for improved funding, the Director General was clear on his commitment to consolidate on his strides and to ensure the completion of NTA headquarters permanent site building, the new studio, upgrade of state stations, and the holistic digitization of the system. In spite of the usual challenges against revenue generation peculiar to government-owned media outfits, the NTA, although primarily not set up to generate revenue, except its Establishment Act is amended, is projected to generate 3.7 billion naira in the 2022 fiscal year.
Free coverages and non-payment. Even where organizations agree to pay, they end up not paying.
We need revenue for the NTA to stand and compete favorably with other media establishments.
The Parliamentary Committee acknowledged NTA's improved credibility under the current management. Other agencies under the Ministry of Information and Culture also defended their 2022 budget. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Unkwo, NTA News.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Port Harcourt has reserved ruling on the suit filed by a former PDP national chairman, Uche Secondus, challenging his suspension from the party and holding of the party's national convention. Kingsley Amajiri reports that the court will now deliver its ruling on the matter tomorrow, October 29th.
Resumed hearing of the matter, counsel to the appellant, Tayo Oyetibo, told the court that he has complied with the court's order by effecting service to all the respondents. This is in reference to the amended brief of appeal. Secondus had, through his counsel, filed a motion on October 27, 2021, where he urged the court to suspend the PDP National Convention and preserve his right as the national chairman of the party until his tenure expires. Counsels to the 11 defendants objected to the application. They noted that the National Convention of the party is not among the relief sought in the substantive appeal. After hearing arguments for and against the application, the court adjourned to Friday, October 29, 2021, to rule on the application.
His appeal is pending before the court, and he has asked the court to suspend the holding of the convention until the appeal is decided, because according to him, under the constitution of the party, he has a right to preside at the National Convention.
Very serious arguments have been taken from all counsel. The matter has been adjourned to 12 noon tomorrow.
In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Participants at a two-day training on advocacy and communications on women's economic empowerment are insisting that women must be prepared for the challenges of leadership if the female gender is set to make its mark in Nigeria's overall development agenda. Aisha Abubakar Yahya reports that the training was organized by the Michael Imodu Institute for Labor Studies in collaboration with the Partnership for Advancing Women in Economic Development, a Bill and Melinda Gates funded project in Nigeria.
Women economic collectives and trainers from the National Women Development Center are participating in the two-day training designed to empower women in order to be able to advocate for improved access, financial inclusion, as well as economic participation in the country. The two-day training by Bill Gates and Melinda funded project in Nigeria in conjunction with Michael Imodu Institute for Labor Studies is expected to, among other things, strengthen the capacity of the women groups involved for a better economic development. With the involvement of the National Council for Women Development, it is envisaged that women will be able to defend themselves and have self-confidence required to contribute to the development of the country at the end of the training.
Our center's mandate is training, documentation, and research, and that entails great advocacy and communication skills. So it is really going to impact greatly on our center, because what we are taking here is what we are taking back to impact on our women and our core staff that do advocacy and communication.
Decide to collaborate together. And this one is strictly for women who are mostly in formal sectors. Unlike workers in the formal sector, they don't have the voice. So the whole idea is that we will train them out to speak out on the need for their empowerment.
Ramat Abdusalam is optimistic of having a better understanding and endowment with skills on how she can be more useful to the society.
Is to be able to speak up, to be able to approach our legislators, our policymakers, to increase the quota for women empowerment.
And then our voice will be heard, and then the solution will come.
The training's main focus is on how women can be economically empowered to make a difference in Nigeria. Aisha Abubakar Yahya, NTA News.
And against the backdrop of allegations of corruption and as a follow-up on the forensic audit of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC says it will continue to work towards ensuring transparency in discharging its mandate to the people of the Niger Delta region. The Commission's interim administrator, Dr. F. Akwa, stated this at the opening of a two-day anti-corruption workshop in Port Harcourt. Osinachi Abraham has details.
The two-day anti-corruption sensitization workshop for public servants is part of efforts by the NDDC to boost transparency in the Commission. Declaring the workshop open, the acting MD, Akwa, said it is one of the many challenges bedeviling the country, hence the need to ensure prudent management of resources. He explained that the workshop is part of ongoing efforts initiated by President Muhammadu Buhari through the institution of the forensic audit into the activities of the Niger Delta Development Commission from inception to make the Commission better prepared to discharge its mandate to the Niger Delta region and Nigeria.
As a Commission, the task before us is to establish the institutional framework that will support the prudent and diligent discharge of our duties within the legal and institutional demands.
Leveraging on them, using anti-corruption tools in the workplace, heads of the various anti-corruption agencies identified asset declaration as a veritable tool to fighting corruption in the workplace.
You find out that
the importance of asset declaration generally for every fight against corruption in any country, it can be used as a source of common beneficial ownership.
We at EFCC, under the leadership of Mr. Bawa, we are ever ready to continue with the fight against this menace called corruption.
Participants agreed that deterrence is now the norm in fighting corruption and not prevention. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
Time to go over to Hingino in Lagos for some reports. Hingino.
Thank you, Cyril. 37 industrial standards have been approved by the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, in the quest to boost the export capacity of Nigerian products under the African Continental Free Trade Area AFCFTA protocol. Samuel Johnson reports that the move is also key in checking influx of unregulated products.
Presiding over the council meeting of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, Chairman of the Council, Dr. Evelyn Chris-Ngige, explained that the new industrial standards, 26 of which were adopted from international standards, are aimed at encouraging local manufacturers to produce quality goods for both local and international markets. She also said the SON has developed testing capacity to achieve this.
The approved standards, which cut across various sectors of the Nigerian economy, are in line with the approved Nigerian National Standardization Strategy. The strategy focuses on stakeholders and market demands and the optimization of available resources.
Director General of the SON affirmed that the new industrial standards were the results of fruitful discussions with stakeholders and that economic growth as well as job opportunities abound.
Every standard is strategic to AFTA because when we establish our standards, it's easy for people that were expecting our goods to look at the standards and then know that those products we approve are up to standards. So really that's a guideline to everything you can think of.
Food, alcohol, air and industrial products are listed among those affected by the new industrial standards. In Lagos, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
Technology offers Nigeria and indeed Africa a golden opportunity to positively shape the future, leveraging the enthusiasm and expertise of its young innovators who are busy coming up with homegrown solutions. A summit organized by the Development Bank of Nigeria for Innovators believes that right policies and investment in infrastructure are key to growing the number of technology entrepreneurs in the country. Adeni Itayo completes the report.
With about $1.4 billion investment in 2021 alone, contributing 18% to the nation's GDP, the information, communication and financial technology subsector is the fastest growing sector and a key enabler for national economy. While the ambience here at the first Techpreneur Summit, organized by the Development Bank of Nigeria, is rigged to encourage interactions and collaborations among innovators and other players in the ecosystem in Nigeria, the central objective is to assist more technology experts to become entrepreneurs. Inyi Aboyeji is a renowned headhunter in the sector and one of the panelists at the summit. For him and others, technology is the path forward for Nigeria, nay, Africa's development.
We need the government to deeply invest in talent and skills for the digital economy. We need the government to invest very deeply in infrastructure.
Should have policies that will enable us go into the schools and start to, build the ecosystem.
Because of course collaboration will have to go outside of our tech communities to other partners.
Hoping to bridge the gap between inventors and investors, Development Bank of Nigeria says its advocacy for medium, small and micro enterprises will be extended to technology entrepreneurs.
Techpreneurs have not been able to access funding.
And that is exactly why DBN was set up, to ease access to funding so they can develop and scale up their business.
I've just enjoyed about 2 minutes in virtual space, learning more about Lagos State through this virtual reality headset. It is one of the technology solutions on parade at the summit organized by DBN for techpreneurs. The summit is saying that apart from developing solutions, tech experts should be assisted and groomed to turn their abilities, their expertise into business that will serve wider purpose. From the summit here in Lagos, Adini Itawo, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. It's time for another break. The news will be back shortly.
Plus is here, and every day is now Christmas. Existing Glow customers will get 400% bonus on every recharge and 100 MB data bonus on first recharge of the month. New customers will get an unmatched 1,000 Naira welcome bonus. To activate, buy a new Glow SIM today or dial *777# for existing Glow customers.
Me and you, let's get to Ghana. Hey! Go and jump.
This is Ghana. You've come here to seek for greener pastures. Make it your worthwhile.
Any guinea fowl is Guinea. Guinea fowl has nothing to do with Guinea. It's just the name of the fowl. So Ghana what? Is it Nigerian beans?
What?
Have we made before?
No.
Jasper! Help me!
History, is history. So either you know it or you don't.
My advice to the younger generation is that they should learn from what we have started and what we have left.
I did things that ordinarily I should not have been doing. What that meant was that I was working hard.
Whatever assignment you are given in life, put in your best.
The military years were a disaster.
Smoldering effects of all that is what we are trying to cure.
It's a trip to St. James's Park for the Blues as they continue in their bid for the Premier League title. Here the Magpies call off another surprise this Saturday. It's Newcastle United versus Chelsea FC on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
We're back in Abuja, bringing you business with Benny Adams. Benny?
Thank you, Cyril, and welcome to Business. In its drive to ensure the digital financial inclusion of women and youth across Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria and its stakeholders are built to engage target groups in selected states in order to facilitate their economic empowerment and inclusion. A statement from the CBN noted that the program also aims at improving access to financial products and services among vulnerable segments of the society. The digital financial inclusion drive scheduled to commence from Gombe State on Monday through to Friday is the first of 6 engagements expected to cut across Bayelsa, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Niger and Oyo states for the rest of the year. Nigeria currently has a national financial inclusion rate of 64.9% and a financial inclusion gender gap of 8% and proposes to achieve 93% overall financial inclusion and close the gender gap in access to finance by 2024. And the African Export-Import Bank has embarked on a $6.5 billion general capital increase to expand its capacity to deliver on its core mandate and diversify its range of services. The GCI will enhance the bank's capacity to support the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines for the continent, aid post-pandemic recovery efforts, and drive the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, among other strategic initiatives recognizing Afreximbank's mandate and pivotal role on the continent. The African Union Ministers of Finance and the AU Executive Council and the 34th Ordinary Session of the AU Assembly of Heads of State endorsed the additional capitalization of Afreximbank. African member states are expected to contribute up to $1.5 billion as paid-in capital and $3.9 billion in callable capital to meet their total contribution under the GCI. And on the capital market, investors gain 89.53 billion naira as the all-share index inches up by 0.41% to close the market at 41,961.14 basis points, while equity capitalization is 21.8 trillion naira. 558.8 million shares valued at 4.4 billion naira exchanged hands in 4,683 deals. Market breadth closed positive as UPL led 20 gainers as against 12 losers, topped by Mansard at the end of today's session. Market turnover closed with FBNH, Transcorp and Silicon as the most active to boost market turnover. That is business news. Cyril, it's over to you.
Thank you, Benin. The federal government has so far expended over 4.5 billion naira in Gombe State for the school feeding program as part of the ongoing National Social Intervention Outreach to Vulnerable Groups. The National Coordinator Social Investment Program made this known at the handing over of feeding utensils to beneficiaries of the National Homegrown Feeding Program in the state. Zara Umar Adamu reports.
One of the clusters under the National Social Investment Program, the Homegrown School Feeding Initiative, has so far recorded 228,646 beneficiary pupils in 1,234 schools in Gombe State. To ensure best experiences of hygiene and safety during consumption of the meal by the beneficiaries, the federal government handed over feeding utensils to the state government.
It's not a question of just giving the children the utensils without necessary provision of hygiene. That one, of course, the school will be involved, the cooks will be involved, everybody is going to be involved.
It's all the promises of Mr. President to say that I will change the narration in this country by the grace of God, and we can see that God is answering his prayers.
According to the national coordinator of the feeding program, an enumeration exercise to verify existing data has commenced towards scaling up of the program with additional 5 million beneficiaries.
Before, me and my poor friends, we are sleeping in the class because of hunger. But since when the government started providing us with adequate food feeding, we are no more sleeping in the class and we are listening to our teacher attentively.
Before, my poor friends, they are not coming to school, but now because they are feeding us, they are my friends, they are now coming to school.
The national coordinator also flagged up the Northeast Life Skills and Entrepreneurship Development Training for mobile money agents. Zara Umar Adam, NTA News.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has congratulated Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri on attaining the age of 54 years. In a statement, the SGF thanked God for the good life of Governor Fintiri and the selfless service he renders to the good people of Adamawa State. The SGF prayed God to keep the celebrant in good health and prosperity. Ogochukwuka now joins us from Benin for more reports on the news. Ogochukwuka.
Thank you, Cyril. There was disturbance this Thursday at the Custodian Center along Sapele Road in Benin City when some awaiting trial inmates, especially the recaptured escapees, made the center uninhabitable for other inmates, a situation that led to confrontation between them. Guloke Naini reports.
In a telephone conversation, the command PRO Aminu Suleiman said what occurred cannot be likened to an attempted jailbreak, as being reported in some quarters. He said at the height of the incident, a reinforcement from other security agencies was made to quell the situation.
It's a disturbance by the inmates in the yard. The awaiting trial inmates, especially the escapees that were recaptured. They are the one that started a kind of disturb.
Okay.
Because the convicted inmates were not also having issue with them, that why should they be disturbing the yard?
Okay.
So disturbing the Custodian Center, so it led to fracas. Basically when there is fracas, it's a serious noise and disturbance in the yard, and they refuse to enter. So that was what just happened, and we have to quell it and put them to control.
In the meantime, the State Deputy Governor Felice Shaibu has visited the center for an on-the-spot assessment.
The number of inmates in this facility as at this morning is 421, and they just finished they just closed their cells in a normal routine. Same 421 inmates that are still here. So the good news is that nobody escapes. Everything is intact.
Investigation to unravel the cause of the disturbance has been instituted by the Controller of Corrections, Felix Lawrence. In Benin, Goodluck Inaini, NTA News.
And also, it was a near disaster at the Olorogun Felix Ibru Secretariat in Asaba when a fire incident occurred affecting parts of the building. Tessie Coker has details.
Staff of the State Secretariat had finished the work for the day and had gone home when news broke that fire had engulfed part of the Secretariat. Paul Owumi was called from his home back to the office at 10 p.m.
I received a call from one of the engineers at the IPP at the back there, telling me that I should rush to office, that my office on fire. I was the first person to get to this place. Then the fire was from Blue Transport.
For Azuka Ewebo, his engine room is gone.
They called me this morning, early morning, that something has happened in the office. I thought it was in my particular office, but when I came, it was a different story. This is my engine room. That is where all the electricity is controlled by this whole secretariat.
These areas worst hit are parts of ministries of health, education, and finance. These offices harbor confidential materials, files, AC, safe, and others. Staff of other departments like the ministries of energy and Bureau for Special Duties were on hand to ascertain the cause of the incident.
We got a call that this place was engulfed in fire. So with the team now, we have just come here to find out the cause and every other thing, then assess the level of damage and report back to the government.
But for the rain, it certainly would have been worse than it turned out. It is your prayer that such never happens again. In Asaba, Tessie Coker, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Cyril is back to you.
Democracy on the move as Anambra State holds its governorship election Saturday, November 6. That's our focus on NTA Tuesday Live next week on the smooth conduct of the election. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
trip to St. James's Park for the Blues as they continue in their bid for the Premier League title. Will the Magpies pull off another surprise this Saturday? It's Newcastle United versus Chelsea FC on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
It is with heavy hearts that the board, management and staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, announced the demise of Dr. Obadiah Milafia, which occurred on Sunday, the 19th of September 2021. Dr. Obadiah Milafia was a former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria from 3rd of May 2005 to the 26th of March 2007. He was aged 65 years. Funeral rites of passage shall hold as follow. Service of songs and testimonies. Date Thursday, 4th of November 2021. Venue National Christian Center by CBN Headquarters, Abuja. Time 5 p.m. Funeral service and burial. Date Friday, 5th of November 2021. Venue National Christian Center by CBN Headquarters, Abuja. Time 11 a.m. He is survived by wife and children. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Signed, Management, Central Bank of Nigeria.
And that concludes Network News tonight. Thank you for watching. But remember to always stand with the NTA, stand against rape and rapists. I'm Cyril Stover. Good night.